Okay, we started one time, but let's do it again. Let's try
this again.
Let's try this one more time. Yeah. But the third one's gonna be the best one. So we're gonna have to just re-record it.
The third one's always gonna be the best one. So we'll just do it once, the whole thing, and then we'll do it a couple more times.
Yeah, just to make sure everything's there.
Just make sure, yeah.
Yeah. So Chris, man, where are you from originally? Where's your origin start, man?
Southern California. I went to, elementary school and middle school and high school in Moreno Valley, California. I doubt anyone's ever heard of that. Maybe a few people. But it's just east of LA. And now I'm in Los Angeles at my drum rehearsal space. But I currently live in Long Beach, which is 30 minutes down the highway. Not too far from me.
Long Beach is great. I love Long Beach.
I love Long Beach.
There's a lot of good stuff going on there. But you're going to Los Angeles to practice drums? Yeah,
it's kind of, as much as I love Long Beach, there aren't a lot of places to do this, play music loud. And this happened to be, most of my friends are in Los Angeles. So it was easier for me to just hop in on a previously existing space, instead of creating my own somewhere in Long Beach. It would cost me a lot more, I think. So for now, this works out. But hopefully soon I can not to commute, so every week to do this. But we'll see. For now, it's awesome. Now I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
And
that's good.
I share a space with my friend Misha. He said to say hi to you.
You could just tell him whatever you want to tell him. I'm not going to say hello to him, but no, I love Misha. Love Sad Girl. He was very nice to come on here. The fans didn't like it so much, but I did. Got a lot of slack for it. But anyways, this one is not about him. Everyone always talks about him. He's the greatest.
He's he's great. He's nice. He's everything. Yeah.
I wouldn't say nice.
We get it already.
Yeah. It's okay. We get it. Yeah. I mean, he's selling his new record. We all see it. We know. Previously not released.
See what he's doing. He's always putting out new music.
Yeah.
We're sick of it already. Just kidding. I love you, Misha.
No, Misha's the best. He is
the best.
He's the best. Yeah. It goes Sad Girl, the Beatles, etc. down the line. But anyways,
right.
So you're sharing the space with that guy. I forgot his name. And who else? Is it just you two?
Yeah, it's just us, and I think he has some projects that come in practice here too.
Mm-hmm,
but it's nice. It's just me in here most of the day. So
and you're moving the drums from Long Beach to LA?
No, they stay here. They just kind of they're camped out. Yeah.
Thank goodness, man, because that is a whole other thing.
Especially because I walk here from Long Beach, so it would be really intense to have to bring my whole drum set. Yeah, every time.
You can do it. It's possible. Probably not. No. But it's good to hear, man. And it's so interesting to hear about a space that is being used. I mean, that people are practicing in LA area for sure, but I never know where this is going down at, but I'm glad to finally be in the know.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird little underground, thing. It's you have to know someone to get in. It's really strange.
And that
just now, I still don't get it. I still don't understand how I'm even here, to be honest. But it worked out.
But look at you. You're there. You're the toast of the town, man.
It's insane.
Yeah. So when did you start playing drums, man?
I started playing drums probably in middle school, actually. I played piano for a long time when I was a kid. My parents kind of forced me into playing music, and didn't know at the time I was going to love it so much. But I started playing piano when I was a kid, and I would go on a bus and play recitals up and down California. And I was 7. And then I think I was, it'd be my teens, and got this album, this dumb little CD that no one's ever heard of, called Dookie, by this band called Green Day. And that kind of
do you mean Blur?
That's what I actually meant.
Okay.
Blur. Yeah.
Yeah. No, those guys are rad. Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
So I learned that entire album front to back on my makeshift drum set at the time, which was a box and I think a clothing hamper, and maybe a pot or something like that. But I learned the entire Dookie album on that. But so I started playing them. My dad saw that I had a love for drums, and he was like, and he played drums too. So he was kind of like, piano out the window, let's get some drums. And my mom and dad kind of had maybe a beef on that at some point. But I got the drums and started playing every day after middle school. I would come home from work or from school and play till my mom got home. When mom got home, it was, that was it, stop that racket.
No more. Yeah.
But,
got it. It's gone. It's done. How much time did you have looking back?
It was probably like 3 hours.
Oh, that's a good amount.
3 hours. Yeah. And I started teaching myself how to play, kind of. My dad showed me some basics, and then I taught myself how to play by listening to, I think at the time, the Alicia Keys debut album came out. Like, this is like a long time ago now. And just came out. I'm not sure why I got that CD, because I wasn't into that music at the time, but I had the CD, and I decided to learn that too. So I was kind of off the bat learning different genres of music, like from the get-go. And I think my dad eventually saw that I was really passionate about it, and he put me into lessons as a teen, and that's how I kind of got started.
Man, yeah. I mean, that's a heck of a journey. So let me ask you this though: were you playing them on the weekends when she wasn't working, or was that not happening either?
That's a good question. I don't remember if I was playing on the weekends. I'm pretty sure that I was. It was probably loudest on the weekends, because then I had the friends over. Oh, you got a guitar? Bring it over. Oh, you got a bass guitar? Bring that over too. I think it's kind of like the jamming started that way, and I'm sure it was terrible. I'm sure it was just a bunch of noise. Mm-hmm. But mom put up with it for a certain amount of years.
Man, that's nice of her. That's nice of her, man. Shout out to mom, dude.
Oh yeah,
all the moms,
even all the moms and all the parents that let their kids make racket in their house.
I don't know if you could see it, but there's the symbols right there. So I appreciate my parents as well. They've been lagging on listening to the podcast. I mean, they're just.
Oh, they got to get on it.
I know, and I love them, and they let me do it, and I at the house right now, and it's very nice, and they let me play the drums as well. So I appreciate them, but they will listen to this months and months and months from now. But right now I'm grateful as well. So
that's amazing. Mom and Dad. Shout out to the parents. Shout out to the good, cool parents.
That's right, man. Did you ever take the drums over to someone else's house though, and then kind of?
Yes, sometimes. I remember I kind of fell into, my friends were all kind of getting into playing instruments at the same time, sort of. So all my friends' parents let us make crazy racket in their houses. It's crazy thinking about that now. Like, how do we do this? Just making noise in parents' houses all the time. And I don't even know how I got my drum set from one house to the other. I don't even know how I was getting these rides, as a 12 or 13-year-old doing this. But we made it work. Like, we were just like driven little kids wanting to play music in some way. Didn't know what we were doing. But we started doing that. And I think the parents saw that we were so stoked. They were just like, let them do it. They're at our house. They're not outside in the streets, causing chaos. They're in our house. We can watch them. We see them do this, and creating things,
Right. The
so
hunger.
I think that kind of like let them know, like, a little bit of security, like, oh, they're here. They're being annoying, but they're safe. They're in my house.
Yeah. Were you getting into trouble as a kid outside of playing music as well? Like, were you causing a muck? Running amok in the streets? A little
bit, yeah. I was like a secret, like, mischievous kid. Ooh. At home I was very sweet, but on the outside my parents' house, I got into a lot of shit with my friends. And a lot of times I was into skateboarding too, so we would get into breaking into places and getting chased out by the cops. And
I like how a siren played in the background as you just said that. That was so perfect, man. That's great.
I'm in downtown LA, so that might happen a few times.
Because that's what you're doing before. You're just skating, and then you came in here to do this, right? That was.
I just skated from Long Beach to downtown LA with the drums. So
it's kind of got that going on. Maybe like the. Okay, yeah. I get it. I gotcha. Maybe have some
right?
of those straps, like the, I don't know what the player is called. What's what's that one called? Anyways, man. So you were a sneaky kid. You're getting into some stuff,
I was
but
a
you
little bit sneaky,
yeah.
and then the teen years hit, and I would sneak into the house at after hours,
What was
you
curfew?
know, huh?
What was curfew? What was the hour of curfew?
Like dark, or I think at some point it became 9,
Ooh.
and then I pushed it to 10 eventually, and that was kind of it. Because after 10, it was like you're up to no good, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, nine
Which was
is
true.
pushing it. 9 is pushing it, man. 10, you're into some shit right there.
10, I got lucky with that. But after 10, what are you doing really? Besides looking for something and get into,
Yeah,
something bad to get into.
yeah. So you're playing drums with your friends, and you're skating, and you're doing a little bit of bad stuff, but not too much bad stuff. But is music like the thing that you're really gravitated towards in your free time more than anything else?
Yeah, I was a pretty good kid, and for the most part, and I think I just really wanted to play music, and I really wanted to. My dream, I think, at that time was to like record an album, and that was like my dream to do that. And small known fact, I recorded a solo album. My friends were like, 16 maybe at the time. They were older than me, and their parents let them build a studio in their backyard. They had like some money for something, like saving up, or they were playing shows, making a little bit of money here and there. And they made this really, really shitty studio. But to me, it was awesome. It was like part of the house, but it was like they had their own entrance. I was like, this is awesome. And they had like the glass division between the vocal booth and the control booth, And I was like, this is legit, as a kid. So I wrote some weird songs with a synthesizer, and I played the drums and sang and played the keyboard.
You're bringing the piano back, man, and your mother must have loved that, dude.
I brought the piano back a little bit. And I was like, wow, that was cool. But then I started, really getting a little older in high school and seeing like documentaries on bands and going on tour. And that was my dream, just to go on a tour. Like that was like, to me, if you can go on a tour, that was the top,
Yeah.
You couldn't, that was like not even I didn't even realize how to even do that at the time. You needed this, you needed that, you needed to be that, to be able to tour. So I think that really started driving me, focusing on really playing music and getting good at the instrument that I was playing.
Yeah. What was this band that you wanted to record the album with? Was it your first band, like real band that you were a part of?
It wasn't even. It was just I made up the songs just to be able to record, and I just like did a solo thing. I don't even know what I called it, to be honest. I think I had like a bunch of names that I went through. Like I think one of them was called like Puke Muffin.
Good.
Which was terrible.
I like it, man.
I've done a bunch of like other like weird names, but that I can't remember. But it was just literally to be able to record something. And I think at the time, my good friend Isaac, him and I had taken a course with MIDI, like learning MIDI together. And we had the idea of like getting into that.
Was this in Portland at the time?
This is in California.
Still. Oh, still in California. Okay.
This is before I even moved to Portland. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Isaac. He's great.
Isaac's awesome.
Yeah, he's a really, really nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been friends since high school, me and him.
Wow, so you guys go way back.
Yeah, we've had a band together just after high school, I think. And he was in a really cool band that was on like TV and radio and stuff back then. Oh. And I was like, dang, And then he quit that band to be in a band with me. And I was like, whoa, we got, Isaac from his band was called If the And. It was like a dance band. They were sick. And so he joined the band with me. We had a band, and it was pretty cool.
What was the name of that band?
Together since we were.
Sorry,
that band was called Tour de Force. No, that band was called Tour de Force, and it was fun. And it was kind of like a progressive rock band, kind of with weird time signatures and whatnot. But we played all around Riverside and stuff in Reno Valley. And that was my first time really being in a real band.
That was what
Like
you
shows
consider
and all
like
that.
your very first legit band.
That was my first real legit band where we rehearsed, we took it seriously, we wrote songs together, and we actively pursued playing shows. And we would just play anything we could get, you know.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. And that's when I started discovering my love for booking shows.
Interesting.
I was like, I'm sick.
Oh,
Are you
Chris,
still there?
Chris, I'm so sorry, man. You said my love of booking shows, and then like the video caught up, and I'm sorry that we're doing this through Zoom, but then the video caught up, and then it was like
No,
you
it's
like
okay.
talking
I'm not
real
on
fast.
Wi-Fi, so it's probably kind of shitty.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're just using data on this. Is this a
Yeah,
data?
well, yeah. I mean, I have unlimited data, so why not use it? You know.
Yeah. Who are you with? Verizon, Sprint, what? Who?
I think it's T-Mobile. T-Mobile.
And T-Mobile, Sprint, allegedly, but I'm with Sprint. And
Oh yeah.
they said that they're merging, but it still
guess
says
so.
Sprint. So what is the deal? What's going on there?
What is the deal with that? See, that's a whole different interview right there.
Yeah.
You can go all day on that.
Yeah, that's gonna be the third one. That's gonna be the third iteration of this one.
Third take.
How old were you when you get your first phone? If I could finish that sentence.
Ooh, that's a good question. Dang,
I try to get one in,
like,
Chris. One in every interview. One good question. I'm glad that was the one.
That's the one good one you've asked so far. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I was for sure in high school, and I was in probably like a junior in high school, and it was a Nokia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like a Nokia brick, and it had Snake on it.
Yeah.
And mine lit up when someone called.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So what you're looking at, like 16, 17? That's
I believe it was probably 16. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Could you imagine? Could you had fathomed back then what phones would turn into today?
Not even close. You know, maybe I kind of wanted that as a kid. Like, what if it did this? You know?
Yeah.
But and then remember the walkie-talkie phone?
Yes.
That was crazy when it was like a walkie-talkie.
That one?
Yeah. That was nuts to me.
I never had that one, but I always thought that sounded so sick.
Yeah, I never had one either, but it sounded awesome. And it sounded like so cool.
Yeah.
And like kids would do it at school. I'd be like, dang, that sounds tight. But it was like literally a walkie-talkie and didn't use data, right? It was just kind of like a cheap way to like, make phone calls really quick, like in the area.
Yeah. It was cool though. I like it. That's gonna be my next phone. That's gonna be my next new phone. It's gonna be
my next new phone will be that one. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Whatever it's called, the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is at the end of high school that you join this band and say the name one more time of the band with Isaac.
That was called Tour de Force.
Tour de Force. Okay.
Yeah, and then I was in another band at the time, same time, duo, where I didn't play drums, I played the keyboard and sang, and it was called I'm Not a Violent Person. And I would book shows for my bands like that, and I got really into that, and I was really sweet to the parents, so I would convince parents to let us throw shows in their backyard or in their house all the time. And
was it more indoors? No. I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay. Was it more inside? The majority was inside or outside in the backyard? I did both. Larger majority
though. Outside shows. I would
50-50 kind of down the middle.
Majority would probably be. I would probably say outside be the majority. Backyard show.
Gotcha. Yeah.
At the time. And that was really fun. That was kind of, summertime California, play shows outside.
It's a good time to do it for sure.
Really good, right? And I was really good at convincing parents to let us do that, for some reason. And they would just trust me to like book the bands, and we would party, and we were pretty respectful for the most part, And that's how I kind of got started in that whole thing, booking, playing. organizing,
Yeah, man. I mean, that's such an interesting thing to get into. Do you recall the first show that you like booked, like a backyard show or something like that?
Yeah, I think I do. I think my mom was out of town for a weekend, and I told her like I was gonna throw like a little party, just have some friends that she knew over, and that was cool. But I totally booked like 3 bands, and and when the first band rolled up, this is so funny. Remembering this now, the first band rolled up in front of my house with a flatbed trailer, and the drum set up like bolted down to the flatbed trailer, and there's amps in the back, and they just loaded this thing in like they were on tour, like just loaded it in the backyard, and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be loud, this is gonna be a big thing,
Yeah.
and that was nervous. That was like, okay, this is real, this is my first time doing this, it's at my house, and all these kids started showing up, and I was like, okay, this is a full-on, my first show was like a hit, it was like already like popping off,
Yeah.
But it turned out it was really fun actually, and it didn't get too crazy. And this is before I think we were all like really drinking a bunch and partying like that, So I think for the most part it was pretty innocent.
Were you letting people inside your house, or was it just like you locked the door and like that's like just don't go inside?
Yeah, we had people inside hanging out. Like it was like I know it was like a teenage movie party.
Yeah. That's you, man. You're living it, dude. You're the plot A of a movie, man. Look at you, dude.
Yeah, right. That's where it began.
Yeah. What was the craziest shit you saw, like one of those kind of backyard or house kind of shows?
Oh man, I'm sure I've seen some crazy shit. I've seen plenty of fights, at those kind of shows. There was one crazy show where, and I was not, I didn't book it, but my band played it. And this is like high school era, or maybe just after high school. And the party was popping off, and it was in a cul-de-sac. So people were in the cul-de-sac, hanging out in the cul-de-sac, mingling around, and the backyard was popping off. And this crew, kind of like this, I think it might have been like a gang, showed up, because we were kind of living amongst that at the time. And there would be gangs that would crash parties. And this gang showed up, and they wanted to come in, and and we said, no, you can't come in, the party's packed. We don't want this kind of attention at this party, And they got pissed, and one of them kicked the window in the front, like the front window. They got up and kicked the window in, and
They
was
kicked
chaos.
in a bay window, dude.
Everyone's screaming. Right?
Oh boy,
come
yeah.
on! It was like a nice big like suburban house, like cul-de-sac, nice neighborhood, So that was kind of like the first time I saw something crazy, and people running out of the house, and for safety and stuff.
Did it escalate from there, or was it just like
I don't remember. I think it escalated. Like people started fighting in the cul-de-sac, and at that point, it was just chaotic. And people were running, people were leaving, and I remember the cops showing up, and that was kind of where I left off there, But as I got older, and played in bigger bands and whatnot, the shit just got crazier. I've just seen even crazier things since then, But that's the beginning,
Yeah. Man, in the cul-de-sac, man.
Right, in the cul-de-sac.
In the cul-de-sac, dude. In the neighborhood. You know what cul-de-sac means? I believe it means bottom of the sack, and like meaning like one way in, one way out. So that's like one of the worst places. Yeah.
It's terrible. You're stuck in there. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta fight your way out, man. That's it. You gotta you gotta get past the shards of glass that's on the lawn.
Exactly.
So you're playing in this band, and you're setting up shows. When do you make the move to Portland? When does that come into play?
So we were really taking it seriously and trying to really focus on the music and the writing. And we thought that being where we were was too distracting. All of our friends were there. We were partying a lot at the time. So we wanted to move somewhere where it was cheap to live, wasn't much going on, and we could just like be in a house and make music. And we had settled for like, I think we settled for like Albuquerque or something like that, because it was super cheap at the time. And we were kind of like, okay, let's do that. Then in my head, I was like, that sounds terrible. Like, I don't want to go to Albuquerque. I really don't, you know. And at the time, two of our friends had moved from where we lived to Portland, Oregon. And they were living in some kind of like artist house, like full of artists. And they were just doing art shows and playing music. And that sounded cool to me. And they were like, it's pretty cheap out here. Like, you can get a house for cheap. We all can just get a house, pitch in and get a house. So I think those two friends convinced us to move up there. And me and our friend Osama, who was the singer of the band at the time, me and him went up all of our shit in his car and just went up without having any place to live. We just went up there and just like, let's just see what happens and make it work. And Isaac stayed behind because he had a really good job. And he was like, I'm gonna save up money and get the U-Haul and move all your shit, go to your parents' house, pick up all your instruments and all your stuff, put it in a U-Haul, and I'll meet you in Portland, you know? So Osman and I went there and we like hustled and got money to get a little house.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little house, called Isaac, got the house. He's like, okay, got the U-Haul. He moved up, got all of our stuff to our mom's houses, went to our mom's houses, picked up the drums, picked up the guitars, all the amps, and whatever we wanted him to bring, you know, we're like, bring this, don't forget to bring that, you know. And he came up and we met him at night. He got there middle of the night in Portland with the U-Haul. He made it all of our shit intact, and we got the house. And I was the one that had the job that was actually funding the house at first. So the boys were just living in the house, and I would go to work.
What was the job?
Food and kind of.
Sorry,
I worked at Trader Joe's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were the only ones that wanted to give me a job. I was literally living on the streets and living on couches. Probably didn't smell good. Probably looked crazy. But they were like, "You want a job?" And I was like, "Really?"
Thanks, Joe.
You know?
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, dude.
So they gave me a job, and with the first paycheck, literally, I think it was the first paycheck I got, I was like, "House," you know. So we met this guy that wanted to give us a place to live. We just got kind of lucky. Like, it was like all these things just lined up, and we got lucky, got a job, got a house from someone that trusted two dudes from Southern California, two kids, really, Southern California, and made it work, you know, and started playing music in the house and throwing house parties and got really popular in Portland. And that was, we just kept making it work. It was nuts. Like, just like everything lined up for us at that time.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool when everything just like kind of locks into place just so.
It just kept making sense. And we were like thanking ourselves for making that move when we did it. And it just kept making sense, and everyone liked us. And we were like weird. We were different because we were like brown kids living in Portland, and Portland was most of the white kids, you know?
Yeah.
And I think we added something to the community, the music community there. We were punks, and we would look different to the punks in Portland, but we had the same mind, you know?
Right. Same mindset. Yeah.
And right. And we all got along with everyone. Everyone like literally loved us and would give us stuff to help us out. And it was kind of like, we made the right decision. This is where we're supposed to be right now, you know? Right. Yeah. And it just really worked out for us. And looking back on that time, it was like, how the hell did we do that? That's crazy how we did this. Like, fuck it, go to Portland. And then it just like worked out from there, you know?
Right. Yeah.
It's insane.
What year was this around?
That was 2008 or 2009.
Nice. So
Yeah, I moved to Portland.
how long did it take you to like assimilate into this scene? Like, is it really quick? Like, there wasn't like a lot of
Yeah, it
things
was.
going on.
We had some pushback. We had some pushback for sure. And people were kind of like, "What are these guys' deal?" You know, obviously. And we came in and automatically moved into like the coolest underground like artist house in town. So we knew our friends that moved in, so we already had that in. So the main guy that ran it, he knew us from hanging out there all the damn time. We were always in his face, like skating in front or just being annoying or like having nowhere else to go, laying on the couch. Like, oh, you got to here again, you know? Oh, you're still here. Cool, you know? Just being annoying. But they knew us. And we were in everyone's faces, so we could not be ignored really.
Yeah,
And
you had to make it work. Yeah.
It happened to be the coolest place in town that booked cool bands at the time. So they trusted us. When we finally got the band together and got some songs together, they trusted us to throw a show, and they gave us a show. And I kid you not, the first show, we introduced a song, and by the end of the song, the crowd was singing back the words. And that blew away people. People were like, how the hell did you guys do this? Who are you? Like, what? Doesn't make any sense, you know?
Right.
So that got us a lot of recognition, but also a lot of hate and a lot of weird stuff happened after that. But for the most part, it was all positive. And it just kept going from there. You know, we met really good friends and started hanging out with really cool bands and learning from them. And yeah, Portland was just a really insane, special time.
Yeah. It sounds like it, man. What other bands were playing at the time of you moving up there?
Man, there's so many great ones that I got introduced to, but you know, there was us, and then at the time a very young, very brand new Guantanamo Baywatch, and before I was in that band, and then there was a band called Vampire. The great friends of mine still, and there was a band. Nurses was a band back then. Blitzen Trapper was playing a bunch. So many cool ones. I forget now.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on a lot of these bands. Red Fang. It's like a metal band.
So there's like a healthy
Yeah,
community of people like making stuff
there
happen
were
at
so
that
many
time.
awesome bands. There were so many cool ones. Yeah, I mean, and then this band called Yacht, who did really well. They came out of there and they were playing, garage shows. Yeah, it was just like abundant. There was just so many, and everyone was in each other's band. So there was just tons of bands. And at one point, I think I played in 6 bands at once. So we were just literally playing music all the time.
Right.
Because you couldn't help it. You just did that,
Yeah.
And it was just part of it. And you got borrowed for a show to do this. And it was like great band practice. It was like a great like rehearsal to be in music industry and to be to network, and to play for crowds. It was like a perfect rehearsal for that.
Right.
And it's a very supportive system they had there in Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many cool bands, supportive bands out of that era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when did that your band finally kind of call it quits?
So we got taken on a tour. It was our very first tour. We were like super stoked on it. We had just, I think, played this like show, and our band. I think we changed our band name at the time. So it was Tour de Force with Isaac. We had changed the band name to Boom, Boom, and Boom really was popular, and everyone loved it. And it was more punk and less progressive, less like less weird time signature stuff, and just more straight ahead punk and catchy melodies.
Right. I feel like I've seen the tape. I feel like I've seen a Boom tape. Okay. All right.
Yeah. We did a tape, and I'm not sure if it was before or after but we had got a deal to record a record and put out a record. Boom did. And I think it might have been before or after the first tour. I don't remember now if we had records on that tour. But we had got our first tour with our friends White Fang, and they had been touring before. They had been to Europe and all across the country. So we were like, they know what they're doing. You know, this is great. Let's go with them. So we bought a shitty van the week before and went on tour. And on that first tour, everything went wrong. Like, you know, everything that could have went wrong did go wrong. Shows canceling, van breaking down several times, flat tires, and bandmates not wanting to play and getting burnt out and quitting. And eventually one of the bandmates quit. We had a show, he didn't want to go on stage. And he was in the van, and the next day he's like, I want to go home. And we all split. We all went separate ways. I took a train back to Southern California, went to my mom's house.
Where did you get on at? Like, what were you in a different state?
Yeah, no, we were in Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't far from Los Angeles by train.
Yeah.
And I think everyone kind of just split up. And I think one guy, Isaac, got into someone else's band. But yeah, that was kind of it for the Boom, you know? And it was kind of like over. But and we didn't do anything with Boom. And then Isaac and I continued Boom as a two-piece for a while. And that was successful. It was pretty fun. We did some tours on that. So that was kind of it with Boom. And then me and Isaac got asked to do a tour with a young Guantanamo Baywatch. Mm-hmm. And I drummed for both bands on that tour. So it was like a 20-date tour with 20 shows. I played 40 shows because I played back-to-back every night. Yeah. And
that seems super easy, man. I don't know why that'd be a difficult thing. I mean, real easy to do.
It was insane. It was nuts, and won't do that ever again. But I did do a few tours where I did double duty. In the package, I was in two bands.
Yeah. How much were you just like depleted of energy after that?
I think I was just so stoked because I was just like doing what I really wanted to do. Like my dream as a kid was to go on a tour and play music, and I was doing it. So I didn't care what the price was. I just wanted to do it, you know?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I'm playing in two bands. Like, this is crazy. I'm playing not even just one band on tour. I got two bands on tour, you know?
At the same time.
To me, that was cool. Yeah, so that was cool to me. I think I was just stoked and didn't care about how tired I was, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think that would really fix it for you if you building up that stamina for play. I mean, so that's like 2 hours, hour and a half?
Right. Every night, you know?
Yeah.
And when I got back from tour, I was in tip-top shape as far as drum-wise. You know, I could play all night. And that was a cool feeling, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's when you're really honing in the skills.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was like when you're at like the sharpest you ever were was like at that moment?
I feel like tour, that was like the beginning of me like figuring my shit out. You know, that was the beginning of like really figuring out what kind of drummer I was and how to play in bands and how to play on stages. That's kind of, those tours really formed me because I got a lot of practice, you know. So, and I always thought like during every tour, what's that?
No, I was gonna say it's so interesting that you like knew that you wanted to do it as a kid, and then like it actually really ended up impacting your life greatly. I mean, and in your music career, of course.
Yeah, that part to me is still crazy. That I got to do that, and that I have these memories that I get to share from following my dream in that way. You know,
man, not a lot of people could say that, dude. That's awesome.
It's nuts, dude. It's super nuts, and it still to me is insane that we do this. Like my friends and I figured out a way to play music for people that like it, and to me it's just crazy. It's nuts.
That's awesome. Going back to the first tour with Boom, like the very first one that you did, do you remember your mindset before going on, like the night before leaving on the road? Like, do you remember what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I remember being super nervous um, because I had never done anything close to that before, and we were in the hands of each other. We were just punk kids, and there was no rules, you know. So in a way, it was awesome, also scary. And like behind, like way in the back of my head, it was a little scary because there were no rules, and literally anything could happen, and we were just out there, and there was no one looking over us really. You know, we kind of like created the whole thing ourselves. So there was a little bit of anxiety in it, but also excitement that we were doing it ourselves. And I remember like not sleeping because I just wanted to do it. And I was just like, let's just go already. I can't handle this, you know, let's just get out there.
Yeah.
And being in the band and just like thinking about bands that I love that were on tours that as a kid thinking like they did this, they were in a band too, you know, and it didn't seem real. And I remember even driving down the 5 and we were playing shows across. I think we played. No, I think we skipped Oregon and went straight from Portland to like Northern California. And that when we crossed into California, also I hadn't gone to California in a while because I had been living in Portland for a while. And that was my first time back in California. So it was like a big deal. I was like, whoa, we're like on tour, we're doing this. This is crazy. And then when we got out of the band to play our first show, I felt really cool. And yeah, I was like, yep, this is what I like. I'm in. This is it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm do this forever.
It was like a homecoming in a sense. Like, I'm back. Like, I'm doing
Yeah,
it.
it felt good. It felt good. And I came back to California on tour. You know, I left California for a reason, came back, and this is why I left. I'm on tour now. I'm playing music. And I made that step to get here. And now I can show my friends what I've been doing, you know.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. That was
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that must have been a really rad feeling for sure. So after you were playing in Guantanamo, like you're just kind of in it. You're like, this is like you're in this band now.
that was life. Yeah, once Guantanamo Baywatch, excuse me, once they started going on tour and we started playing shows and recording, that was it. That was our life. We didn't do anything else really. Like we have like some side jobs in Portland, but once we got a house together and started playing tours and stuff like that, that was what we wanted to do. That was what we did. We worked hard. We toured all year. We wrote. We just like did so much. We created all our own merch. We designed it.
Yeah,
Like
I was talking to Jason about like the
like,
tapes that you guys made for on tour
yep,
with just tape it over. That's such I
we would
think
do.
about that, and that's awesome. It's such like like an interesting like
Jason
really
has some really cool stories, right? It's
yeah.
insane. Jason and Chevelle, them two together were already a huge, amazing like force in my opinion. They were just so cool as far as like creatively, and they were just driven and they worked hard. And because they had gone to school and stuff, so they had that in their mind. They were like, this is like, we know how to grind and like work on projects. We've been doing this in school for so long. So I learned that ethic from them. I learned how to like grind and create and keep creating and make it yourself. I learned all that, you know, stuff from Jason and Chevelle. And we were crazy. They used to be like, you guys are nuts. Like we were recording vocals to a record in the van, driving to the next show. You know, Jason would be in the front seat with headphones in and singing. And we get out, play a show, we go back in, and he would go back and start recording more. You know, so we were like always doing something on the road. We had a multi-tape dubber in the back seat. So we were dubbing tapes, packaging them on the way to the next show, and recording it. We're packaging it, recording it in the van to the next show to sell it, you know, at the show. So it was like, it was crazy.
That's insane. That's so awesome, man. So when you guys started like recording, I correct me if I'm wrong here, but Chest Crawl, was that the first record for
that was
Baywatch?
the that was the first like full length vinyl pressing record. You know, we had done some tapes before that, and they had Jason Chevelle did a tape before I joined. And yeah, so I think the Chest Crawl was like the official release. We had signed a record contract or whatever, and yeah, that was the first like main thing we can like hold like a vinyl thing. No, actually, I'm lying. I'm lying actually, because if you know this, before Chest Crawl, there was an album called Postcards from the Tar Pits, and it was a super limited release. And it was this label that the same label that did the Boom record. They were just like doing local bands records at the time, so they did that one for Baywatch. But and that's what they toured on for their first tour. And then they came back from that tour, and we recorded Chest Crawl together. And then that was the first like official signing, a contract, press, you know, like backing, all that stuff.
Yeah,
that was the first one.
Yeah, a lot of contracts involved in that one.
Right.
Yeah. Were you did you have a hand in writing those songs that appeared on Chest Crawl as well?
I think a lot of them were kind of written by Jason when he was in high school. So he had a really cool, pretty much really had the song down in his mind what it was going to be like. So it made it easy for me to just kind of hop in and play what he kind of liked already. And then there were songs that we did write together where I would just write the drum part and have an idea for a drum part. But I think that album, as far as the drums and stuff, we all kind of had ideas on what to do and backup vocals. You know, we kind of like, does this work? Let's try it. And then we would try it and then we'd keep it if it sounded good, you know. That was fun. But the funny thing about that record was we recorded it in my bedroom. So I had to go to bed with the gear set up in my room still. So I literally would go to bed and have to climb over a wall of amps to get out of my bed and, you know, into the hallway to take a piss at night, you know.
So I did that a fucking double stack. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would come home from work and Jason would be in my room shredding, you know. So it was kind of like we lived and breathed that for a long time.
And it was all recorded live?
Yeah, we recorded the drums in the room, and then I think we recorded everything kind of separate. We recorded the guitar stuff live, and then we overdubbed the drums again. So we kind of like recorded it once, and then took out the live drums, and then recorded the drums separate, put those in. Jason did a lot of overdubbing on that. We even overdubbed like just tom hits and stuff. Sang some backup vocals. At the time, we were really into like Muppet style vocals, so we'd use really high pitched voices for the backups and stuff. But yeah, we kind of just like layered it and recorded it in different situations. And at the end, I don't even know what recordings got in the final mix. You know, I'm not sure where those drums were recorded, if they were recorded in my room, if they were recorded in the theater that we rented out. You know, I don't know at the end where everything came from. But that album still, it's crazy. I still hear that album playing in shops and bars and, you know, on the radio and stuff.
Yeah. How does it make you feel?
It's part of me is it's really cool, but another part of me is like wishes that it sounded better.
I think it sounds awesome, man. Yeah, I think it sounds rad, and it has a distinct sound to it, which makes people drawn to it, man.
Right, and I'm just now maybe understanding that. But when here at a bar on loudspeakers, I'm like, ooh, that sounds a little crazy. But I love the fact that it's still being played and people still appreciate those songs, you know.
Right. Right. And I mean, all the whole discography is that people. I mean, I remember seeing a lot of kids with just Baywatch shirts.
Yeah,
It's quite often. It's like it's rad. There's a reason
we
for that.
love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's another cool thing is when you see someone wearing your shirt. It's kind of a cool thing too.
How trippy is that?
Super trippy, super
Yeah.
trippy. Even today, yeah. To say, nowadays I don't go out that much, so if I do go out and I see that, it's kind of like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. How many times do people come up to you like, hey, what's going on? You like the shirt? You know?
Yeah, a lot actually. More than I would think, especially in Southern California. The band is really popular out here, I think. So I get recognized a lot, or I get asked what's going on with the band, And I work at a bar on the weekends, so I'm there. So people know, or if they hear, people come in and they say hi, kind of thing.
And you go, what do
That's
you
cool.
want? It's like I got stuff to do.
Yeah. What do you need?
Yeah. A what? You want a what?
Yeah.
Close it.
You need clothes?
Close. So I mean, what was the extent of your time in Portland? How long was it?
Man, I think it was like 7 years.
That's a good chunk of time.
Yeah, it was a big part of my life, and it was really special to me. And I feel lucky that I moved there when I did and got to experience all that stuff, because that period in Portland alone is like, that's a whole documentary right there. I would say from 2008 to 2014, really, there was just so much cool shit happening. And I always wish that someone would come out and make a little documentation or some kind of series on that, because it was pretty special and pretty insane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, a lot of stuff's happening for sure.
Right. And I got to the point where you would go to different cities in America and say you're from Portland, and then we go, oh, what, Portland? And I don't
They
think
know
that
what's
was
going
happening.
on.
Yeah, like I think before that it wasn't happening as much. Like Portland wasn't as much on the map. I think it might have been a little bit because there were some really cool bands in the '90s and stuff. But it seemed like when we were there at that point, I got lucky enough to be around when it was like really popular, and everyone wants to move there now,
Right.
And I think all that kind of helped that a little bit.
Yeah, but what would have been really great was get to the Albuquerque scene, dude, because that shit.
See, the Albuquerque scene never popped off enough, but who knows if we would have moved there, what would have happened?
Where did the idea to move back to California come from? When did you decide upon that?
So that was kind of, after all this stuff, after kind of we were touring, we had done world tours. Baywatch had done world tours, and we had 3 albums under our belt, and felt good. And I think we were all in a position where we could move away from each other and still maintain the band, and Jason was the first to leave Portland, and that sounded nice at the time, because I had been there for so long, and I was only doing. I felt like I got like complacent, or I was just like touring, coming back home to Portland, drinking, going to the bar, DJ night. I'll DJ the bars, then go on tour again, and that was cool. But I had no responsibilities. I had no bills. I wasn't paying rent. We weren't paying rent at the time. We had nothing to like say that all we had to do was play music, and that's cool. But it got I felt shitty about it for some reason. I was just drinking, going out, playing, and then going on tours, coming back home, laying around the house. I don't know. It just Portland got kind of boring for me. It wasn't testing me. It wasn't challenging me. I was too comfortable. I knew everyone in town. Everyone knew me. And that's cool. But I missed California. I missed my family. My friends were moving to LA now. The music scene was really, really cool in LA. And I loved coming down here. And I felt special when I was playing in LA from Portland. It was so much fun. I had a blast. And all the kids out here were so sweet. So I missed it. I think at the end of the day, I just missed it. I just missed California. And I was like, it's time, you know.
Right.
And I'm glad it worked out. And I can still play and hang out with Baywatch, and I can still fly here and there. You know, for a while before the pandemic, I would fly to Portland and we meet up and practice, and then we go on tours. You know, and I liked it. It was fine. I didn't mind like a getaway, huh? It was a nice little thing to be able to get out of LA, go to Portland, where I'm used to, see old friends, practice, then go on tour, and come back home to LA. You know.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool. So I've been really loving being back in California and being home.
Yeah.
That's
that's awesome, man. That is really cool, dude. What is a moment that stands out for you while you were on tour? That's just something crazy that happened.
Yeah, man, I have so many crazy things. So many crazy moments that I'm just like, that was insane. That was nuts, you know. But I remember being flown to Indonesia. We got flown to Bali, and I got a phone call. This is like, and like, who calls anymore, you know? But I got a phone call on my phone, and they're like, Christopher Scott, like, this is I think her name is Kat. Yeah, a good friend Kat, actually. If she sees this, it's a Kat. From Billabong. At the time, she worked for Billabong, the surf company, and she's like, hey, you know, we want to fly you out to Bali. Can you do it next Friday? And I was like, for one, who calls about coming, like, you know, this is like that urgent. Who calls like to get book a show? And then I gotta fly to Indonesia next Friday, you know? So that was crazy to me that I got that phone call. Right. So I was like, I gotta call you back, you know? So I called the band and I was like, can we be in Indonesia next Friday? Like, drop all your plans. Like, we gotta be in Bali next Friday. And this was probably like the Thursday before, like not even a full, you know, week before the show. So I had just got hired at this bar. So I needed like a little side gig. So I got hired at the bar. And that week I was like, I gotta go on tour. So I left that week. But yeah, Billabong flew us to Bali, which is already insane. Who does that?
Billabong does that.
Yeah, right. And we fly there, and we get like a personal chauffeur to give us like a tour of the island, and then we all get our own like room, like villa with like a pool, like unheard of, like super insane, like way over the top. Like didn't need that, you know, but like cool. And they flew us to Bali, and they're like, okay, here you go, you're in Bali, and we just walked around the beach and stuff. And the next day, they came and got us, and we played a show, and that was amazing. Played on the beach at sunset in Bali, and they built this crazy stage just for us on the beach. And they were like, you cannot play before sunset. You have to play like literally at sunset. So there was like a very much like time crunch. It was like, don't go too far. Like sun's going down a little bit more. You know, they wanted to be like a sunset, like picturesque thing. Band plays at midnight or at sunset. So we did that, and I remember they delivered coconuts to us on stage for water instead of water bottles. It was coconuts.
Yeah.
So I had coconuts next to my drum set, and it was just like unreal, so insane. And that's when I was kind of like, how the hell? What did we do? Like, how do we do this? How do we convince someone to let us to fly us to like a beautiful place like this? You know, playing this music that we're playing. You know. Yeah. That's when I was like, we fooled somebody, we tricked somebody good, you know, we are here, this is insane. And
it's your sneakiness as a kid, and it's
the sneakiness. It worked out, see. It paid off in the end. It paid off.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's
but that wild. From playing, you know, from moving to Portland and playing in a basement and you know, trying to figure out who I was as a musician, where to be as a musician, to being on a plane to Bali, all expenses paid type thing, you know. It just, to me, that's crazy, you know. It's, yeah. And so I'm still like mind boggled by those things that happen to bands.
That's rad that you're able to like still look at it as like, that's still insane, you know?
Yeah.
Because some people lose sight of some stuff that they were like, oh shit, that was crazy. And then it's like, now it's whatever, but it's like, no, that shit's still insane.
That's still insane. Yeah. And the fact that that we can do this, that we can go in a band on tour and be like, pay us this much money. And they're like, okay. And you play music and you're like, thanks. And you go to the next city. That's touring. That's crazy. You know?
Yeah.
And it's, to me, like, people, like, you call that your job, you know, like, you trick somebody, you know, everyone you see that does that is trick somebody some way to let them have the most fun they possibly have, you know, in life. So to me, that's cool. And it's crazy. And you can't take it for granted, you know, because not everyone can say they've done that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. Well, listen, Chris, this has been fucking amazing, man. And I'm so glad that we were able to do. Thank you for coming on, man. And I'm going to tell the people, Chris downloaded Zoom for this interview. Just for this. That's it. He wouldn't do it for anybody else. We did it for me, and I'm really appreciative. Yeah, that's it. And it's getting deleted.
Once we hang up, I'm going to push delete on the app.
Absolutely, as you should. But Chris, man, I like to wrap this up with some promo, man, and I want to let the people know that they could buy Guantanamo Baywatch's music at guantanamobaywatch.bandcamp.com. Also, through suicidesqueeze.net, I believe is the URL for that. And is there anything else? What else would you got to promote, man? What else you got going on?
I got actually excited for this one. I have a friend. They're in a band called the Dumpies. They're from Portland. And I got my first tour in over a year next month with them. We're going to be out in Canada.
All right. Awesome.
So I'll be posting dates for that shortly. But right now we're still trying to figure stuff out. But I'm stoked to do that.
What's the Instagram so that people can follow you? I don't want to screw it up. It's like Cruxtopher. If I'm not
Cruxtopher, CHRUXTOPHER.
Awesome.
And then the band that I'll be joining next month is called The Dumpies, and they're just The Dumpies on Instagram. You can check them out. They're insane. But yeah, I'm stoked for that. And we'll see what else happens. Chevelle comes back to America on the 1st. She's been in Australia for a while, so we'll see if we can do some Baywatch stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely check that out. And that's at Guantanamo Baywatch on Instagram, and it's on Twitter and everything. So keep an eye out.
Everything. Yep.
But you will post about it. I know you will. So go follow Chris.
I will. I'll post on it.
Chris, thank you so much, man. I'm excited to do the third one right after we stop doing this. So I'll see you in a second.
We're gonna do take two, right?
No, this is take two. We're on take three.
Take two.
And we're gonna perfect this. We're gonna do until take 5. That's what Rebecca is. All right. Okay. I'll talk to you in a second, man. Thank you so much, dude.
All right, Jacob. Thank you so much, man.
All right.